we're excited about it, and we'll be prepared. So it's going to take all we've got all week. We have to have a great week of preparation, and I think we will. And I think we'll go in and we'll give it our best Saturday night. Hopefully the place is packed and people are cheering for us, and we can give them a great show. So not much more to say, really. It's a great challenge and a great opportunity.
McCaffrey, how much of a focus does he have to be with your game plan?
He has to be a tremendous focus, but he can't be all of our focus. But he has to be the main focus. I mean, it's in my opinion, it's not even arguable that he's the top player in college football. I think that he was last year. I think thus far this year he has been as well. Although the young man from Louisville would probably have something to say about that. But we're not playing them. We're playing Christian McCaffrey, and he can do so many things so well. Carrying the ball out of the backfield, whether it's inside or outside, catching the ball out of the backfield. They split him out and they use him as a receiver, as a return guy. He's just he's dynamic. He's elusive. He's tough to tackle. He's got great physical and mental toughness. He's intelligent, and the thing that I appreciate the most about Christian is the way that he competes. He's a great competitor.
How much more equipped do you feel having to deal with some of the stuff Stanford presents?
Well, we've gotten bigger inside, and that ought to help us a little bit, but we still got to execute. We've still got to play with great pad level. We still got to stay in our gap. And, one of the things that McCaffrey does so well is he's very, very patient behind the line of scrimmage. And as soon as you get a little bit out of whack, you'll think he's going one way, you'll start to shed a block maybe the wrong way, and he cuts the other way. So it's just imperative that up front that we are very, very patient as well and disciplined in terms of our gap control.
Your running game, when you went back and watched the film, were there corrections that you think you can make? Or do you just say the BYU came up with a good scheme, or how do you give them a hat tip, or how do you kind of look at that?
I think you look at it both. I think they did a nice job, but I think the important thing is to look at what we did and didn't do, whether it was in the way we prepared or practiced or performed, and all of those things have been evaluated and will be a lot better going forward. We didn't perform. When I say perform, I'm including all of us. I say play, more talking about players. We didn't perform the way we need to perform in order to run the ball the way we have to be able to run the ball. And I'm very, very confident that we'll be able to run the ball effectively going forward.
You didn't have Ainu or Soso in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they'll be available this week?
I hope so. It depends how their week goes. But if they have a good week, then we'll, hopefully have them available for Saturday. It'd be nice to have a full contingent ready to go.
Is Ainu hurt, or is there another something?
I think that what's important is that I keep our information as close to the vest as I can. Whether it's for our opponent's knowledge or it's just to protect the health and well-being of our players. So I really don't talk about that stuff very often.
Randall didn't make the trip. Is he available?
I hope if he has a good week of practice and he feels good, then we'll make sure that he's in there playing.
Intact. You said he looked like he was good after the game. Did he the day later come out?
Seemed to be okay last night. He was his good old goofy self. He's an awesome kid, man. I love him and love the way he plays, and he's an impactful player. So hopefully he'll be ready to go. We'll see as the week goes on.
Josh Rosen was very, critical of himself after that game. Does it help to have him maybe a little bit more concentrated heading into with Stanford, maybe a little bit more critical than other people were?
Well, yeah, I think that if you are your own worst critic, that's the toughest critic you can be, or that anyone can be of you. And Josh is very tough on himself, and I appreciate that. I also want him to relax sometimes and enjoy the process and enjoy the moment. So it's just finding that right blend. But it's always a good thing when a player's self-critical to a point, and I think he's got a great mix of that. I think the thing about Josh is he bounces back quickly, and he applies the things that he's learned, and he moves forward with a positive attitude.
There was some chatter among USC that Stanford's D-line was calling out cadences. Do you look at that and come up with a counter for that, obviously, or how do you kind of deal with that possibility?
You just alert the officials. That's up to the officials to take care of, and you hope that your guys do a great job of focusing in on the things that that indicate when when the ball's going to be snapped. But if it is the case, and you talk to the officials about that before every game. BYU had a reputation of doing that, and you talk to the officials. And you know what? BYU never did it, and it was never an issue. So every coach is always looking for an edge, and you push the rules as far as you can push the rules to try to get that edge. And so you never fault a team for doing that. You just alert the officials and you alert your guys and you move on.
In terms of physicality, how does BYU's defense compare to Stanford's?
Very similar. Very similar. I think Stanford's probably a little bit bigger, but in terms of the way they play the game, square, with their hands, staying on their feet, tackling with their chest, I think they're very, very similar. The discipline up front, very, very similar.
What have you thought of Adarius Pickett in the second straight start? He got an interception on Saturday.
I think Adarius is a guy that we can depend on to do a lot of things for us. We see the interceptions, but he's had good hits, good tackles, and he's done a really good job on special teams too, which kind of goes unnoticed. And his teammates recognize it. They really appreciate him, and we all do. And he's one of those guys that kind of you don't really ever think about. Then all of a sudden he's making plays, and I love having him on our team.
You mentioned the pressure that Josh puts on himself. Sometimes do you feel like as a coach you have to remind him that sometimes it's okay to make a mistake, even though he's such a tough critic of himself? Yeah,
I think that's fair. I hate to ever absolve a guy and say it's okay to make a mistake, but I think it's okay to take a breath, and enjoy it. And as long as you're doing your best, and as long as you're preparing the best way possible to play well on Saturday, then you can go out and enjoy the game. It's going to be hard at any level to complete every single pass, or make every single read exactly the way it's supposed to be made, because those guys on the other side of the ball have something to do with it as well. So you don't want to say it's okay to make mistakes, but you just have to learn to play the game and move from moment to moment. I think that he has demonstrated he's able to do that, because you'll see him throw what's not a great ball, and then him come back and just sling one in there that you go, how do you make that throw? To me, that indicates a young man that's able to move from moment to moment to moment to moment, whether it's good or bad, and process and stay positive.